Okay, folks, welcome back. Hope everyone had a great Easter break. This is not me, obviously, and the video, but this is something that I would have done with you in our lab to start our new topic. Now, this is Jim. Jim is filling his very large beaker with water. You can see he's got a little bit of lime in his water because it's kind of cloudy. That'll go away in a minute. And he has two other beakers on his bench. He's just going to make sure that this beaker is make sure that it's empty for you. And very excitingly, he is going to pour this beaker of water into the second beaker. And wow, 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 he's turned it into wine. Jim is very, very talented. Very, very talented. Okay, he's now going to pour it into the third beaker. What do you think's going to happen? Oh my lord, he turned it back into water. So any idea how he might have done that? I hope at this point that you were all shouting at the screen and saying, miss, miss, miss. He was using what is called an indicator. Now, as we go through this, anything that's underlined has got to go into your good book. So you'll have to maybe pause and write it in. What we're going to look at today is these things. They're called indicators, and they are really good at finding out what is an acid and what is a base and what is what's called a neutral substance. So you pause this now and you make sure that you've written in learning intention, and so LI semicolon, to understand the role of an indicator in finding acids and bases. Okay, so now that you've done that, here are a whole load of acids and bases and neutral substances that you will find in your own home. Okay, and in a minute we'll have a little guessing game as to see, can you figure out what might be acid and what might be base. Before that, we've got to do a little bit of theory. So our first bit is this, acids. If you had to explain to somebody what an acid is, what would you say? So acids are essentially substances which have a sharp and really sour taste. And when you become a Leaving Cert chemist, we will give you a different definition. But here is the problem. This is, if you have a look, when we go back into lab 6, on the door of my room, my son drew me a lovely little poster that says, chemistry is like cooking, but don't lick the spoon. So if I give you acids in the lab, you can't lick the spoon because A, you'll get sick or burn your tongue or lose it, and I'd lose my job. So how do chemists go about figuring out something is an acid? Okay, pause now if you need to write those notes into your little copy. Okay, welcome back. So what does an indicator? Well, an indicator is something which can test for the presence of an acid or a base. So you don't have to die with your dying breath telling me that, miss, this is an acid. Okay, so pause now if you need to write the note into your good book. So, anyone who have any idea what these are? My favorite version is the green version. They're all the green version before they come into full bloom. So these things are called hydrangeas. You may have them in your garden at home, or you may have passed them. And these are plant indicators, essentially. They tell us about the soil. So if you have blue hydrangeas, you have acid soil. If you have pink hydrangeas, your soil is basic or alkali, and I'll talk about alkali in a minute. And if you have white hydrangeas, then that is a neutral soil. So this is just a little bit of FYI to show you that actually in nature we do have these indicators. In terms of us and being chemists now in school, we use lab indicators. So we have this thing called methyl orange or methyl orange, and it is different color depending on whether it's acid or a base. So it is usually red in an acid, and this guy is yellow in a base. And we will use this particular thing when we get into second form and we continue on with acids and bases. Or we have this other indicator with this great name, phenolphthalein. Phenolphthalein is the one that Jim used in turning water into wine. So it is colorless in acid, but it is pale pink, or the hot pink that you saw in base. So pause now if you need to and just make a record of these lab acid or lab indicators. Now the last thing that we're going to use is talk about bases. So bases, as far as we're concerned, these are opposite of acids, and on Thursday we'll figure out a little bit more, a better definition for a base. Now here's this thing, if a base dissolves in water, it is called an alkali. So Soap. You may have bars of soap at home. Soap is a base. But when you put your soap into water and you use it to wash your hands and it suddenly becomes soluble in the water and you get bubbles, it's then called an alkali. So an alkali is a soluble base. And most of the bases you will have at home that you're going to use today in your little experiment will be alkalis. So an alkali is a soluble base. Pause now if you need to write down the underlined words. So here we go. We have all of these things: acids, bases, or neutral substances. So we're going to start with the fizzy pop. If you think it's an acid, shout acid. If you think it's a base, shout base. If you think it's neutral, shout neutral. So fizzy pop turns out to be acid. Toothpaste. Shout at the screen now. Can only be right, can only be wrong. So toothpaste is actually a base. We use it to neutralize the acid that the bacteria secrete when they eat our food that gets stuck in our teeth. Oven cleaner. Well done, it is a base. Vinegar. What do we think, acid or base? So if you've ever drunk vinegar, you know it's sour, which makes it an acid. Washing powder. Well done, it is a base. Water. So water is this thing called neutral. Neutral just means it's not an acid and it's not a base. It is neutral by an indicator. Lemon juice. So again, if you've ever drunk lemon juice, it's sharp, it's sour, has to be an acid. Pineapple, similarly, is an acid. Soap. So we're in coronavirus land now where we're washing our soap washing our hands all of the time. Soap is a base. It is because it dissolves literally the coat of the virus. Washing up liquid is the same type of thing, will dissolve fat, and so it is a base. And tomato ketchup, last but by not least, while pleasant to eat, is an acid. Now, your job in this is, I sent out an email before Easter break and said if you could get some red cabbage, it would be really helpful. You're going to make some red cabbage indicator if you can. The instructions are going to follow. You are going to find its color in an acid, in a base, and in a neutral solution. And if you can't make it, then YouTube, you're going to have to Google or use YouTube to figure out the answer. Whatever acid and base and neutral solution you're going to use, please try to make sure that they're colorless so it doesn't interfere with your experiment. You are going to write up your experiment, and again, the instructions will follow, and you'll upload pictures to the assignment post for this particular day, and you will do the after quiz, which will come on Edmodo by 1600 today. Okay, all work has to be submitted before midnight on Wednesday so that we can get on with Thursday's lesson. Now, usually in school, we would have this would come up and you would have your lab glasses and we'd do the intro and you would go away, be really safe. You're not going to have lab glasses in school at home. So again, it goes back to we're now cooking as such. You will see on the back of some things, or in the lab most definitely, this symbol and this symbol. The symbol on the right will definitely be on substances that you have in your house. So if you're going to use one of those things, please make sure that you take the utmost of care with it. So can you remember what these symbols are? So on the left, the X with an I stands for irritant, and the one on the right is the symbol for corrosive, which means it's going to burn your skin. Okay, so again, come back to this. It's like cooking, but we don't lick the spoon. So same applies at home today. Even though we're doing our experiment at home, you're not going to ingest anything because you're going to be good scientists. So this little video very quickly is going. Okay, so I'm going to show you this little video just to give you an idea of what it is you're going to be doing. Now, this particular person here is using buckets and buckets of red cabbage. You could just use 1 or 2 leaves from it. You don't need as much as he wants there. Of course, if you want to go mad. Essentially, what I'd like you to do, please, is cut your red cabbage, put it into boiling water that's already boiled. It doesn't have to be boiling, so you can boil your kettle, get a pint glass, put your red cabbage in there, pour the water in. Obviously, be very careful with boiling water and leave it sit for maybe 5 minutes. After that, you are going to have to strain it in some way. Now, you are not going to have a filter paper and funnel, which is what we use in school. So a sieve will do the job perfectly. So again, you be careful with hot water, but just sieve it into a different container. Now, this person here is using buckets and buckets and buckets of beakers. I just want you to get 3 glasses from home and put your indicator into each of the 3 glasses. You're then going to go and find one acid, one base, and one neutral substance in your house, and I would really recommend that they be colorless before you do it, instead of something colored, because that's going to, if it's colored, it's going to interfere with the color of your result. So if you were going to use vinegar, if you had clear vinegar, distilled vinegar, use that. For your base, if you have drain cleaner, use that, but please be super careful with it. Bleach at home, and again, be careful, but things that are colorless or that do not have much color in them, you will get a much better result. Now, I'm hoping by now you know which neutral substance you're going to use. Okay, and you need to make sure you've recorded your result. Now, once you've done all that, you've got to tidy up. You, not your parents, they've got enough going on now in their lives. Just, I say to my kids, I'm not their mother or father, I'm not their parent, and they laugh at me, but they also have to tidy up themselves. So please make sure you do this and don't add to your parental unit's stress. Now, in terms of your write-up, you are going to have to draw the following 3 diagrams. You're going to have to label them up. Obviously, this is how we would do it in the lab. So this is diagram 1, this is diagram 2, and this is diagram 3. These little over here, these diagram 3 is your, you get a pointer. Okay, so this is your 3 glasses. I want you to write in or color in what color you think this is going to be, what color you think this one is going to be. You can do it in colors or in words, what color this particular one was. And this is your summary part. I found out that red cabbage indicator is what color in an acid, what color in a base in an alkali, and what color in a neutral solution. Okay, and I will give you the answers to that next week, on next Thursday, unless you've had to do it by Googling. Okay, so then you know it already. Good job, you. All right, so in terms of this, what I'm expecting from you is you need to write up your experiment with diagrams, with labels, and the concluding paragraph. You're going to take a photo of everything, so all of your notes and your experiment write-up, and you're going to load the assignment post that this link came on. And you are going to do the after assignment quiz, which doesn't come up until 6 or 4 o'clock today. Everything needs to be uploaded or done by midnight on Wednesday, just before midnight on Wednesday, and you can absolutely get in touch if you need any help. Please don't stress your parental units. I hope you have fun doing it. Talk to you soon.